I think some progress has been made in the negotiations. I mean, first of all, let's understand this is a negotiation. Negotiations, and it's a serious negotiation because when you do an FTA, you're really locking in your country into a long-term arrangement with another partner. So you don't do that in a hurry, you don't necessarily, you don't do that frivolously. So there is a lot of homework, there are a lot of forward projections made of what are the benefits and what are the costs. So it's a fairly complicated process. It's not just like going to a shop and buying something. Given the complexity, to me, it's natural that it would take time.
We were discussing upstairs how this can burn up decades of people's
lives.
I'm
not sure I think it should take decades. I mean, with the EU, we are into our third decade. It's not experience I recommend to anybody else. But we would like to accelerate this. I got a clear message. I also met Secretary Reynolds. So I think from Prime Minister Starmer, from Foreign Secretary Lamy, from Secretary Reynolds, I got a consistent message from all of them that the British side is also interested in moving it forward. We had a round last month in February in Delhi when Secretary Reynolds was there. We remain in touch. I had a few points to convey on behalf of my concerned colleagues as well. So I am cautiously optimistic that it will, the pace will quicken. Hard to say when it would come to head, but I certainly, would hope that it doesn't take that long.
And in the broader relationship with the UK, how do you see that changing?
Well, look, if we actually do conclude the FTA, which I'm optimistic about, I think it'll have not just an economic or a trade impact. I think it would have a larger relationship impact. I think people will see many more, they would be encouraged to explore a lot of other possibilities. And there are possibilities. I mean, I give you an example. We've had a British university actually open a campus in India. Now, that's a big deal. It's a big deal because when we have a few successful cases, these numbers would grow. Now, we've allowed foreign universities, we've opened up the education sector to foreign universities fairly recently. If you look at the numbers, I mean, we have today about 1 million plus, maybe 1.25 million Indian students studying abroad at any given time. There would be at least twice that number of people who would have been interested and had they had an opportunity would have liked to explore that. And in addition to that, there would be many others if they saw the, instead of them going out, they actually saw the universities coming to their homes or close by, they might be interested as well. So I can think of the education sector as a completely, new area which would open up. So when you have something momentous happen in a relationship, I think it will have a ripple impact on a whole lot of other sectors. I see that, similarly, we are considering making some significant changes to our nuclear policy, including amending our liability legislation and also contemplating the possibility of private sector operators in the nuclear field. Now, that too is a potential area of collaboration. I could give you a whole lot of areas. Now, I think many of these are waiting to happen. We need, something like an FTA would provide that sort of tailwind, which would
It'd be quite wrong for me to ask you in detail everything the Prime Minister said, but nonetheless, what is the stumbling block at this point on the FTA?
And there is no such stumbling block. Look, if there are negotiations sector by sector, I mean, let me say this. I mean, pretty much everything I have read about the FTA in the press is inaccurate. So people often claim...
So visas are not a problem, and
no,
pharmaceutical IP is not a problem?
It's good you asked me that. Yeah. Visas have nothing to do with FTA. I mean, the only visas the FTA is concerned with are the visas for intra-corporate transferees, which is business people going to take up jobs in their particular branch of the same business. So I saw these stories or these reports that somewhere there are visa demands. That's not the case. And I could give you a whole lot of other inaccurate examples. Look, it's not that there's some big boulder out there which we need to get out of the way. I think these are painstaking negotiations. And they are painstaking because, as I said, these are serious commitments which are being made, which have economic consequences, which will affect the lives of people in a way. So I think there is a sense of responsibility with which negotiators go about that business.